Hey, what's going on guys? RVZ Stealth here, and in today's video, I'm going to give you my opinion on the best underplayed champions for Season 4, patch 4.14. Now, these champions are still pretty strong, but for some reason they aren't played very often, which is why I'm going to share them with you guys. So, if you want to play one of these champions, they are actually pretty strong, but they just aren't played at the moment. First up, I have Jace. Pros to Jace are he counters a lot of melee champions. I like to play Jace if I'm up against a Gangplank, a Fiora, or an Alistar, to name a few, because if they try to jump on him, he can just go into melee form and use his E to knock them away, and he can just kite from there, making him a pretty strong pick against melees. He's got insane burst damage, he's got great poke in lane, he is a really good lane bully, he can be played top or in mid lane. He's a great split pusher because of his W, and he can be played melee or ranged, making him very versatile. He's got an insane level 2 all-in, because with Jace, technically he's got 4 skills at level 4, so most champions can't deal with that damage, making him a really strong champion to all-in at level 2. Cons to Jace are he's pretty mana hungry, so building a tier on Jace is usually what you want to go for. He's pretty useless if he's behind because he has no sort of CC to help the team, and he relies on going all in and getting close to his opponent, so if he doesn't have his items and doesn't have the damage, then he'll get bursted down really quickly. He's got little mobility, so you have to watch out early game for ganks. You should make sure that you're warding the brushes, because if the enemy comes to gank you, then you don't have much of an escape to get away. Next up, I have Swain. Pros to Swain are he counters a lot of the assassins, because if they try to jump on him, he can just go into Zhonya's, and if his ultimate's up, he'll be regaining health while in the Zhonya's. And the main goal of an assassin is to burst down your target as fast as you can, and if you use Swain to counterpick them, they can't do that, so it's making them more of a useless pick. He is strong at all stages in the game. He's got great CC with his Q and his W. He's got really good AoE damage in teamfights because of his ultimate. And he's got great DPS damage. He has no mana problems in lane, making it easier to spam your abilities and harass your opponents because of his passive, which regains health every time you kill a minion. He is quite easy to play, as all of his abilities are point and click, except for his W. And cons to Swain are he has no mobility, so like Jace, you have to watch out for ganks, because the jungler will probably try to focus you early game. And he needs mana after laning phase. With Swain, having your ultimate up in teamfights drains a lot of mana, so picking up a Rod of Ages or a Tear of the Goddess is usually the best choice, because you want to try and get the most damage off in teamfights, obviously, so you want to have your ultimate up at all times, and having these mana items will help you do that. My next pick is going to be Vel'Koz. Pros to Vel'Koz are he's got great wave clear. He's basically like a Ziggs 2.0, where he can deal damage from very long range and still stay at a pretty safe distance. And he's got insane damage early game because he's got really high base damages, especially on his ultimate. He's got great AoE damage. He has really good CC with his E and his Q. And he's a good poke/siege champion. And he's also got surprisingly low mana costs, on his abilities, so you can spam your abilities pretty easily in lane and get a lot of harass off on your opponents. Cons to Vel'Koz are assassins. Assassins counter him insanely hard because they can just jump on him and burst him down really easily, and because he has no mobility, he can't really do anything about it, so that's why Vel'Koz is kind of not the greatest pick at the moment. I wouldn't recommend picking him if your opponent first picks a Talon or a Zed or a Fizz, because they can just easily burst you down if you're not careful. And he falls off late game because he has pretty low AP ratios, but he's got high base damages, so He's strong early, but he falls off late. My next pick is going to be Dillion. Pros to Dillion are he scales really, really well. He's got high ratios, and he's also got high base damage on his abilities, so he's strong at all stages in the game. He's got good mobility with his E. He's got really good poke with his Q. His ultimate is probably one of the best in the game because it basically means that you have a 6 teammate and you can use it to revive one of your high priority damage dealers, making him a really strong pick. He counters melee champions pretty hard because he can just poke them down and they can't really do anything about it because his Q has such a long range. He can be played mid or support, depending on what you feel like playing, and he's useful even when behind because of his ultimate. Cons to Dillion are he's pretty mana hungry. He is surprisingly harder to play because using your ultimate in teamfights on a high priority damage dealer opposed to using it on you to keep you alive is sometimes hard to judge, and using his ultimate in teamfights on the right person can change the whole game, so it's kind of hard to judge who you should use your ultimate on in teamfights. And he's kind of weak against tankier teams because they can just sustain through his poke damage from his Q. My next pick and my last pick is Ezreal. Pros to Ezreal are he has good poke damage with his Q and his W. He's got good mobility with his E, making him a strong choice if you're starting out as an AD carry or you're looking for someone to play who's got a gap closer. He's got good kiting potential, especially if you build an Iceborne Gauntlet, because he can just E away, he can use his Q to slow you, and it's pretty hard to catch up to an Ezreal. He's got a safe laning phase because of his E, where he can just jump away if the jungler comes or he gets all-in. And his Q is pretty strong, especially because it's got such a long range, so in teamfights you can stay back and still deal a lot of damage with your Q. Cons to Ezreal are he's pretty weak if he's behind, and he's skill shot reliant, which is one of the biggest cons to Ezreal. If you can't land your Qs and you're not good with skill shots, then I wouldn't recommend playing Ezreal because that's where most of his damage comes from. So that is all for this video, guys. If you enjoyed, then be sure to like and subscribe for more League of Legends content, and I will see you in my next video.